So just want to say a big thanks to everybody for the support over our first 2 episodes. It was great, wasn't it?
It's been so good. It's, the response, the messages, the love, everything, all the subscribers, followers. It's just been a great input.
Didn't think it would actually go as good as it did. We kind of watched back ourselves at first, being a bit like,
oh my God, you could have picked yourself apart.
Oh yeah,
couldn't you?
I mean, I did. So I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like that.
But then,
double chin.
to be honest, see, once I started watching it again, like for the second time, I was like, actually, it's not that bad. Do you know that way when you actually get over the fear of watching yourself? But the response has just been brilliant. Like,
I think because especially like with the lunch thing, as we were saying, like everybody's saying is a lunch thing, and we've got some really, really crack lunches.
Oh my God,
We've got
yes.
some really good lunches to show you. I mean, I thought I was type A, but I've been
That's
blown out
next
the water.
level, but you've got on your phone.
I've been blown out, so we'll actually show you them and keep them coming because it's actually quite fun. And keep it, doesn't actually have to be like, this is the perfect packed lunch. Let's see the messy ones too.
Oh my God, like mine.
Let's see it. You should actually do one.
Oh my God, you should have
Tin
seen
hot
mine
dogs.
today.
Oh,
Tin beans.
I was howling with that chat though, like the spaghetti bolognese right out the ready meal. Like,
Aye.
take call,
Aye,
who
there you
cares?
go. Aye.
You're good. But let's touch upon today's episode, which we're going to run over 2 episodes. It's such a good, healthy chat for us to have. We might not be experts in this, but we've had so many people contact us and ask us to talk about certain subjects, and it's massive.
Yep, co-parenting is huge, and I think it affects a lot of the population, because I always think of co-parenting, when we were growing up, I think that generation of our mums, their mums and dads were, do you know, that way structured to be together? Do you know that way they never separated, very rarely, or you would only get the odd 1 or 2 that would separate, whereas the next generation, it's almost like people are now confident to say, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people splitting up. Do you know that way?
That's massive to say that. That is massive. I grew up, mum and dad separate. I was always at my nana's with my cousins and stuff as I was younger, and then the older I got, it was kind of just me and my mum. So I was kind of used to that. And I think with me being a mum, I was always like, probably when me and Chris weren't getting on at our best, I was always like, oh, but I want my girls to have what I never had. So I kind of stayed there too long at first. And then when we parted ways, I can't even really touch upon this because we actually done great when we parted ways. So I can't even moan about it. And then we got back together because the twos were completely different people. And I always say we broke the mould.
It's like maturity though. Sometimes when you, like Paul and I have been together for 14, 15 years, and touch wood, thankfully we've never split up. But the person that I was when we met is totally different to the human that I am now. Do you know what I mean? And we've changed and grew together, and that doesn't always work with people. But like I said, I think the generation, you know, our mums and that, they were just manufactured, like, you know, in their brain to, it's wrong to split up, and they probably put up, and I think that's maybe why our generation kind of seen stuff that maybe wasn't right, because our mums and dads and their grands and grandas didn't want to separate. Yeah,
but you can either go, this, I'm going to ride it out like my mum and dad did, although it doesn't feel right, or you can go, I'm bowing out. And sometimes bowing out is fantastic for you, but it ends up such a full-time job trying to co-parent with this person who isn't always the best to co-parent with.
Yeah. And I think as well, see, sometimes it's not easier on a child to have a, you know, 2 homes and a separated family, but is it harder for a child to sit and watch their parent go through something toxic or something that's not working,
100%,
rather than actually having that separation and actually giving them that routine of a happy mum and a happy dad?
I think as a woman as well, showing especially your daughters like how you should be treated and what you shouldn't and shouldn't expect.
Do you know 100%. When we got
100%.
back together, and I said this to Chris isn't romantic, right? I'm not overly romantic, but I always said to Chris, see my flowers on Valentine's Day, they always come because I want my girls to turn around and go, no, my dad used to buy my mum flowers every single Valentine's Day, even though my mum's not very romantic, my dad's not very romantic. That they need to witness that.
Yeah.
They need to witness these good behaviours. And we were together for 12 years where stuff like that wasn't happening. Do you know what I mean? And maybe the girls were a bit young, so they didn't really notice it as much. So now that we're back together, I always say to him, like even when I was talking about that thing with Ali, we were falling out with Ali, I was like, it's up to us as the parents for her to know that she can bug it up, she can come to us, and we might not always agree, even like with co-parent. I think like even though me and Chris are obviously together, we'll probably parent differently, so they'll know that they can go to Chris and maybe say something so much to Chris, and then they could come to me, and I'm always a bad cop. I really am. And I think it's easier for me and Chris to bounce off each other in the same household. Sometimes we butt heads over it, but I will never make a decision. And Coimbrook said that actually yesterday. They were like, Sally's told me a wee secret, right? And I'm like, they're like, you better not tell Dad. And I was like, I won't tell Dad. And I was like, because it's her wee secret. I was like, I won't. When she's ready to tell Dad, she can tell Dad. I was like, but they went, you do that with us too. And sometimes I went, yeah, because it's things he needs to know, and it's better coming for me to break the ice, to say, listen, Chris, have came to me, and the reason they've came to me is because blah, blah, blah.
Aye, they're worried. Like.
Yeah, I was like, but I'll never make a decision. Like, even when I wasn't with Chris, if I felt as if, like, I had to go to the doctors for something, I had to do this, whatever, should Coimbrook get grounded for this, blah, blah, blah. It always came from both of us. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it was, I can't even comment on the co-parenting because we were very easy. Chris was just like, you do what you do.
I think
that's the goal. That's healthy, like working together as a team.
And I think it must take a long time to actually, like for certain people to actually get to that point where, you know, you bounce off each other, things are going well. Because could you imagine co-parenting with somebody that's broke your heart?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Years ago, if you were, you know, that heartbroken teenager, because we've all been that, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And how much, when you split up, how you would score points on each other, do you know what I mean? Just to try and, you know, hurt each other. So you've now got then a child in this, and even worse, if they're actually cheating on you and then they're going with the new person.
The new person.
Like how hard I can only imagine that must
be really hard. And we've had loads of chat on this, so people have reached out, and this is the biggest, I would say, response. When you have a new partner, how soon is too soon? Or if your ex-partner has a new partner, how soon, like, do you introduce that person? And this kills me because I always feel like I'm so glad I wasn't that person that was like in a rush to meet somebody and have them in my house and have them around my kids, and because the world is terrifying nowadays.
Oh my God.
It's terrifying. So you need to, as a parent, I'm not even just saying as a mum, because obviously dads do this, as a parent you need to turn around and go, can't stand this person, but I'm not scoring brownie points that could affect my kids.
Yeah.
And that is so hard to do that with somebody, I'd imagine, that is narcissistic, that just wants to score points, that isn't technically even interested in having the kid. An insta parent, as you like just taking the kid.
That's a big one, point scoring with the kids, using them as weapons.
And I think you see, because I know of a guy who's got a podcast and it's called Voice for Dads, and it's basically like a podcast of a group of dads that come together, and they basically, you know, their partners are stopping them from seeing their kids, and they're going through the motions of the courts and all that. And I think you see that tends to be a lot of the women that weaponise the kids in a sense. But I suppose there's a lot, you don't always know backstories and stuff. Yeah. But you can imagine some of the males being a bit, you know, no paying their way, they're no pulling their weight. And for me, a definition of a co-parent is 50-50. And I know that 100%. That's sometimes impossible because work schedules and stuff. But it's almost like if you've got, you know, the kids need new trainers, you've not got the money for it, phone the dad, you know, can you pick it up this time? You know, that kind of balance. And
it should never be about used to when it concerns them. Because
I feel like if, say for instance, the mum, because obviously we're talking about it from a mum's angle, if the kid needs something financially or, you know, physically, we find it. Is it fair for the dad to then go, I've not got that?
What's that saying? You've never seen a crackhead turn around and say they've not got money for crack.
Is that a saying?
I hope I've not just created that.
You've never seen a crackhead until they don't have money for crack.
You've never heard a crackhead turn around and say they've not got money for crack. They always find the money.
I'm actually crying. I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry, right? If you can get a crackhead that can find the money for crack.
You've got a dad that can find the money for a pair of trainers.
You've got this parent that can go get you trainers.
Oh my God.
We're just not accepting that in 2025, right? So use that.
But the mum finds the money. The mum finds what she needs to look after the child. And at the end of the day, the child is always going to need looked after, whether you've got the money or not. And the mum always finds.
I'm so sorry, that's such a serious chat. But even when you're talking, I can pure see you think. I
That is too funny, honestly. My eyes are actually watering.
As I'm looking. Oh, that was so bad. Right.
Right, let's bring it back
I
together.
know. Oh, God's sake. Talking about Wayne's having trainers and Sue's a Highland.
You're talking about crack.
Oh, what a way to start the morning. But no, you shouldn't, and it shouldn't always fall back on them. I'm like, I always say to like with me and Chris, like, Chris probably doesn't even know what I actually spend on the girls, do you know what I mean? Because it's stupid things when they need, like, obviously Chloe and Brooke are older now, so they just go and get their own stuff. Like, but when Ally needs like socks, new socks for school, or she needs a new shirt, or she needs a new, do you know what I mean? Like, or like Hallie's football and stuff, I'll just directly just pay the football and stuff here. But you're like, you don't actually realise how much time, money, effort, patience it takes to raise a child. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's why it should be 50-50.
It should.
And like I said, you know, work schedules and stuff, you know, you maybe got it, maybe, you know, a wee bit more.
Yeah.
But if that works for you, then it's still kind of 50-50, isn't
50-50. And what do we think about, because this was something another girl had came to me and said, what do we think about the whole, if you don't pay your way, you don't see your kid?
I think that's hard. That is hard to answer because thankfully I've never been in that position, but I know people who have.
Yep.
And if there's a reason why you're not paying your way, or if you've got, you know, sometimes I get dads maybe buy their stuff, you know, when they've got them, they'll maybe have their own clothes and all that at their house and they're pulling their weight that way. Is that fair? That's, you know, should you be giving the mum money then if you're actually paying your way for your child when you've got them?
Aye, it's different. I think it's very, very hard because especially if you've got someone who is probably like a great parent, not great with you. It's hard to then co-parent when you're like, I know, but I'm paying this for the wee, you know. Or if you've got someone who'll turn around and go, well, I'll pay this, and then it's your responsibility to feed them or keep the heating on, or do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's quite hard to then have a conversation when you don't get on with that person to try and get them to think, no,
understand how you see it.
Yeah, and do you know what? I'll say this, and I'll always say this: the most important relationship you can have is with your kids. So I don't give two hoots who's like giving you that bit of attention or who's, do you know what I mean? Like, your friends are great, bonus. A new partner, if you must, great, bonus. They kids will grow up and one day the roles will be reversed, so they'll be coming to visit you. They'll be coming to make sure you're okay. And if you don't have that great relationship with your kids, what relationship can you possibly have good? I always say that. I always say that.
as well, if you, obviously going through the motions of splitting up with a partner, and obviously I've got a message that somebody sent in with that, but quickly that you're never going to be replaced as a mum and dad, and I think it's hard to remember when you're going through emotions of heart and, you know, heartbreak, or, you know, if you have that good relationship with your child, whether you're separated with mum or dad, you're always going to be their mum and dad. But if you then have that toxic relationship with the other half, your kids are eventually going to grow up, see that, and then maybe hold it against you. So it's going to flip. Do you know that way?
100%.
Whereas if you try and keep that steady relationship with your kid as much as you can, it's going to work out better. But I totally get it. It must be the hardest thing to do.
Yeah, I read a thing and it was like, you have to try as much as possible to not trash your ex to your children, because it kind of makes them feel like they can't actually come to you,
100%.
because they feel like if they come to you and they're like, Dad said this, and rather than you going, oh, Daddy, okay, and moving on, and you fly off the handle, they're like, oh, I can't go to Mum and tell her stuff because she's
how
not
much
safe.
must that happen though? Like, you know, you can imagine 100%. How much the other half gets bashed when you're hurting completely in front of those kids. Yeah. And I think that must happen quite a lot. And
it does. Do you know what? It genuinely does. And even like me and Chris will bicker, like when me and Chris proper bicker, right? Like, I mean, you should see the things me and Chris at each other. Like we were sitting the other night in the kitchen and Brooke was just sitting going,
gonna wrap it.
Oh my God. And honestly, Brooke walked out the kitchen and me and Chris were howling. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, literally like, howling at each other. Like, I'll grab Chris with the neck and go, what's this? Because he's got double chin. He'll grab me with the stomach and go, what's this? Like, and the two is like, we slaughter each other, right? They're so used to being round about that. Like, but they said that it's the banter. They're like, like honestly,
although you are slagging each other off, it's like healthy banter, like, you know.
It's a line of funny.
Yeah,
do you know
it's
what I mean?
a line of, yes.
Uh-huh.
Like, well, actually, like, he put sausages in the other night and burnt the sausages because he was too busy cleaning the sink. And he's like to me, were you not watching them? And I was like, so the two would kind of like get into it a bit, and I was like, who does that? Who puts it? And even last night, he put roast totties in the air fryer for that Chloe, the pure awkward child that doesn't like to eat. He put roast totties in and walked away and left them. And I was like, why just in the kitchen then? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm in there making the gravy to go with her roast totties and stuff, and then I'm like, I says to him, I was like, you do realise you've done it? And he's like, it's a big deal. Right. So I know that me trying to actually like talk to him when us two are like in it, like bickering or whatever, is so hard. Never mind with someone you don't live with, doesn't see eye to eye with anything. Like, even stupid things, like I have witnessed with friends and stuff where their wee boy will support their dad's team. The dad will leave, the wee boy has on a strip that then is the opposite, just to annoy the other parent. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like,
it's like
the
so
level
petty.
of petty there is unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? But you just need to remember, this wee person loves you both. There's no like...
you always be mum and dad.
Yeah,
always.
Always. And the sad thing is, like, if it's constant, like, say for instance, go take like mum being that kind of sole parent here where she's got the wee and every day and whatever else, he'll then go, I'm going to say the wee man, right? He'll then go to obviously the other parent at the weekend, and the other parent's like this in his ear. Then it just allows the child to come back and cause like whatever he wants in that household, because he knows he's got dad's backing when he's causing his mum bother.
That's the level of disrespect, isn't it?
Yeah. And for me, like, I used to always be like, I can't stand Chris this week, but they can. I was like, so do you know what I mean? Exactly. They can, and
that's you putting your own feelings aside for the sake of your kids.
Yeah,
100%. I always say we co-parented the way we did because of me, because Chris was just that easygoing parent where even now it takes a lot for Chris to step in and actually be like the bad cop, as we always say, because I am the one that goes, no, come off this path. Let's go this way. Do you know what I mean? Like, and as a parent, I just love them to death, and I couldn't imagine turning them against anybody.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even if I've had arguments with anybody at all, that's not my kid's problem. That's not my kid's problem.
And that's it, especially when the kids grow up. You've obviously got older kids.
Yeah.
And could you imagine, like, obviously being in their ear? They're in their back of their minds, like, that's my dad. Even, you know, if your mum, your own mum and that, then now you're still like, but that's my dad. You feel that way, do you know what I mean? That's my dad, like, you know.
100%.
And you then just build up that resentment. It just backfires on you eventually. And I think, obviously, like, going back to what we were saying in terms of a lot of females using the kids against dad.
Yeah.
It is going to turn round, and it's not going to be very nice.
It's not going to be nice for you. And I know that as a mum's point of view, we just want to protect. Like, I can't speak for men because I'm not a man, but we just want to protect our kids. Like, so for me,
nature into it.
I'm not. I've not really came across like one-to-one many females who have got the kind of nastier side where they're like, you're not seeing the kid for this reason. Do you know what I mean? So there's always been a bigger reason of, let's take a break this week, but there's not been any foul play where you're in the kid's ear going, see your dad, see his new missus, see that. I've not came across one-to-one on someone that's done that, and if they did, I would say to them, don't do that.
Aye, that's no fair.
I would say, don't do that. Don't mention the new missus. See if the new missus is mentioned to you, then kind of try and downplay it, because your relationship with the dad is never going to be anything. Your relationship with the kid is always going to be something. Aye. And you want to be that kid's safe place. So
I think I'd put a question on Instagram, and it was what's the toughest part of co-parenting, and somebody'd commenting like dealing with your ex-partner's new narcissistic partner. Yeah. So, like, that's going into the topics of meeting a new partner, that's fine if they're fine and dandy and lovely, but how do you deal with somebody, like, you know, that's not that nice and has a lot of input on how they see your child, do you know? Do
you know, even when you're saying they're lovely and they're nice, see, when if I don't know if I would still, I don't want anybody else.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Like that, it sounds terrible, but I don't want anybody else being around my kids. Like, that they're my babies, and I would hate for them to come in and go, like, say for instance Michelle, oh, Michelle made me this, or Michelle brought me this, or Michelle, do you know what I mean? Like, that is my...
How would you feel about if your husband split up and his new missus was disciplining your kids?
Don't get me wrong, that's what I'm saying, right? I genuinely don't even think I would like I would like there to be, right? But see if it had to come to it.
It's a hard one because I'm like, I wouldn't want them just running about being cheeky to
the arseholes, do you know what I mean? You wouldn't have that, like, you know, and I think before the discipline comes, there needs to be a level of respect between you and that partner, because if anything, it then becomes the dad's way of disciplining, not the new partner.
But it's hard because when you live in two separate households, then how do you co-parent to the best? We are bedtime's at 9. Bedtime's not at 9, it's at 10:30 here. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, you need to wear your school tie going to school every week. Nah, I don't do that when I'm at my... Do you know what I mean? Like,
you need to set boundaries, I think, if, like, you know, when you get to that point where you are actually kind of moving, because, I mean, how easy is it to set boundaries when you have just split up and everything's all up in there? But
I always praise us women for that, though. Like, I know, obviously, like, you kind of said more about, like, women kind of dangling kids and whatever else, and that does happen. But I always praise women for actually trying to have that wee person, like, with you majority of the time, because that's what you see the women's got to be in. Crying her eyes out probably most nights because she's going through a pure heartbreak. Trying to get up every day, doing what she's doing, and then trying to set boundaries, and the other person's just not playing game.
Playing game.
Well, that's have you seen that influencer Laura Clery?
Oh my god!
That
is horrendous.
And her ex Stephen Houghton.
That is just so weird how all that happened, isn't it? Like, they split up.
So can I ask you something? See, when you were watching the two together, did you ever get that vibe from him?
Yes,
did you?
So
did you?
I watched them when they were still like together. So they split up like 3 years ago. But they were still together, and he gave me, I just thought, you're a narcissist who has clung yourself onto this talented woman. Yeah. And you could tell that when she was in the videos, she loved performing and comedy.
Yeah, like what was it she done, the Halloween stuff?
And Pamela Pumpkin.
So that's kind of
Rad the Witch's Broom. And you could tell she really was into comedy.
Became part of that as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but he just always, I just felt slimy in the corner, and I just...
And then did he not like split up there because he wanted to go and take drugs or something?
And he was cheating on her.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he cheated on her a couple of times, and then she caught him going to a drug dealer and trying to buy whatever drugs that it was, and she was like, look, can we just separate for one night? This is all she said to him. And he jumped on the internet and went, me and Laura have split up and made this video. And she was like, why did you do that? I just asked you to leave the house to figure it out. Yeah. And she's like, the irony, she's like, I wouldn't have split up with him. I would have maybe just tried to figure it out. But she said that it's a total blessing because everybody, they did an episodes, it was just after they split, and she was trying to do like a co-parenting series. Yeah. And she was like, we'll have a podcast and we'll talk about co-parenting. And he does nothing but emotionally abuse her for the full episode.
I've seen that, you know, like the bits, he's kind of almost making threats online, like, I'm coming to get you, like, you know, and I'm like, that is actually frightening. You're literally broadcasting this all over.
Do you know who's a perfect example of this? Peter Andre and Kate Price, right? He was horrendous to her.
Awful.
But he looks as if he's a great dad. So this is a perfect example of co-parenting with someone.
But can you not imagine, although we've seen a lot of what Peter Andre done, could you not imagine their relationship being pretty toxic from both ends?
See, the thing is, I done a post on this, right? And my post wasn't to bring like Katie down and hype Peter up, right? Because honestly, I get chills when I watch the way Peter talks to her. Like,
on those videos was horrific.
Honestly, I get really big chills on it. My point was, everybody on the internet was slating Princess, our daughter. And what I was trying to say to them was, guys, listen, we need to not be going on to like princessy stuff and bringing up Katie, who's been under the influence twice, crashed her car, could have killed a child. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, I'm not saying, like, I'm just saying, going into princessy's thing, who's a child, who, by the way, seems as if she's so lovely, respectful.
She does, doesn't she?
And I know myself, right, when I was brought up an alcoholic, there was times where I would say, by the way, it's only one parent that's allowed to come to this, right? Because I didn't want that other parent coming and me being embarrassed because he was drunk, or, do you know what I mean? Like a couple of times where he was out in the street, he'd fail when I was trying to carry him and stuff, and all your pals were kind of laughing and stuff. So I was like, maybe look at it from a bigger picture where Princess could be sitting going to production. Don't want my mum to be on the show because they're just going to focus on her surgeries.
On her.
So that wee person could have made that decision and saying to people round about her, could you take the blame for this? Because I don't want my mum to suffer. I don't want my relationship with my mum to suffer. And the internet just went crazy, and they went crazy on me, so I had to delete the post because they done exactly what I was saying don't do. So they came on and slated Harvey and they came on and slated Princess, right? So I took the post away because I was like, that's the whole, and I had loads of views and stuff on that, right? But I was like, this is what I'm trying to say, like I'm not sticking up for Peter, right? Peter was horrendous. And someone had said, because I opened it with, would Katie Price be a role model to draw the audience in, right? And people were like, should she be? And I'm like, every single parent should be a role model to another child, yeah, 100%. Like when I'm out and about, I try to make sure that I'm good positive energy around about someone else's child. Like if that's not something that you think of, then I don't know if it's me it's in the wrong there, but like if I leave my child with you
expect
I'm hoping
me that I'm going to I'm not going to supply nor be drinking all that.
I'm
going to be a good person.
You're going to be a good role model for my child. So I do expect her to be, especially in the public eye.
So had she been drinking around Princess and stuff?
Well, she was drink driving and stuff. And
when she had the kids?
No, I don't know if she had the kids when she was drink driving. She
done it twice though, but
then
you
twice wrote the car off, and obviously she'd so what I was saying was, don't come on to Princess's post and bring her down for maybe her making decisions, because they were saying no, it wasn't. It was like her management and stuff, and I was like, I know, but I was that child that was kidding on, like going to, do you know what I mean? Like so. Yous are actually affecting her relationship with her children even more so, because now Princess's Diaries was nowhere to be seen because Katie Price got number one in the. Do you know what I mean? She got number one in the chart.
It ended up all about her.
So it ended up all about Katie, because us as the public jumped in and went, oh, we're going to defend her to the death because we hate obviously Peter, right?
Because that's what I was thinking as well. Like, everybody jumped on that, but then was there times, the whole picture of her doing it? Because you could imagine, like you said, that type of person that she comes across and being.
Yeah.
Is that...
It must be hard. It must be hard.
A toxic relationship that was.
That was a bad. He was an evil. But then you look at him...
on those clips.
You look at him with Emily and you wonder, because Emily's so pretty. She's a
doctor and stuff, isn't she?
She's very intelligent though, isn't she? She's
a doctor and stuff.
Majorly intelligent. And I can imagine her being around her parents and stuff, being quite good, like intelligent and stuff. And I'm not saying that Katie isn't intelligent. God, she look how much millions she had. But what I'm saying is, like, you think she would be like, I'm not taking that. And then the two kids have grew up absolutely
he
amazing.
made a post and saying that they two stayed with him, didn't they? Like he won a battle or something like that.
So I think that was the same with other kids as well, weren't they? She obviously had a meltdown, and by the way, what a grand job she's done at Harvey.
Oh,
what
God.
a grand job. That must have been like so hard. When you're having
and she's got no one.
That's what we're touching on. So when you're actually having a breakdown, you're still trying to be a great parent. Do you know what I mean? And mums do get criticised a shitload more than what a guy does.
100%.
So a guy could go
women
out,
in general,
a guy could go out and get drunk for the whole weekend, do what he's doing, not show up for the kid on a Monday. I have all sorts of, and then that's it.
They're
that's
getting a high five after pals.
Yep. As in, if a mum was to do that, then it would be like, oh my God, that's disgraceful. Like,
shocking.
That is shocking, and whatever else. So it is a hard thing when you've got, as I'm saying, just using they two, because Peter looks as if obviously he's a great dad, right? But what a shitty partner, what a harrowing. So how does a mum then try to navigate trusting your kids with someone who speaks to you like that? Are they going to be like that with my kids? Are they going to? Do you know what I mean? So at the weekends or whatever, when this person's got your kids,
I think if they're narcissistic, you're kind of screwed. I think they will lie and say, I think that's why you need to really consider, like, who am I having kids with?
Do you think, like, obviously it must be really hard to go from that, someone who you think is the love of your life,
so
hard. You've spent all these time together, think that you're going to spend the rest of your life, you have kids, and then something happens and it turns and you're like, oh, I don't like that, this isn't it, and you look at the person totally different, and then you go like that, was this person like that the whole time, and I've just realised,
just opened your eyes,
and I've just thought, no, I'm not accepting that, or is it just something that's just happened? Is it something they've always been like that and you've got the blinkers on?
But you change as well, as you said, so it could be that what was acceptable for you once upon a time just isn't acceptable anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you want more from life, and that's okay.
A lot of guys love bomb as well though, don't they?
Oh my God.
Yeah. I've got a couple of friends who are single and stuff, and see like some of the stories they tell me sometimes. and they're even,
The dating
it's
world's
quite funny,
scary.
like, because obviously, like, with your Tinder apps and all that, right? When they were all on them and stuff, they were all talking to the same guys and stuff, so they would all put it in the chat, like, we're talking to that, and they would be like, he's talking to me, like, he's talking to me.
Oh, God.
And it's just weird
Are
because...
we dating the same
As
guy?
you say, aye,
yeah,
that page,
are we
what,
dating the same
actual
guy?
fuck?
Yes. Yes, you are.
I went on that page because my sister's ex, somebody had posted my sister's ex on it, and he was a
brilliant.
pure arsehole, like he's
Okay.
narcissist, but we'll not go into that just in case he's listening.
Huh?
I'm hello.
So
But
you've
she's
got to
like, oh
say-
my God, he's on this, right? So I added it, and Paul's like, why are you on that? Why the fuck are you on it? Are we dating the same guy? And I'm like, just to see if you're on it.
Just for the tea?
Just to see, does
Do you know
anybody...
that people can actually put anybody on that? And honestly,
Aye,
like,
I know.
That's
do
crazy.
you know what I mean? So imagine you had like a like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I had a grievance with you and I was like, get married, are you?
People do.
Aye, they
they
do.
do,
Like,
like,
Post
so
people's
vicious.
boyfriends and their husbands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
people
are
get back
vicious.
at them. And
People, that's what I'm saying as well. Like, even like stuff you put on the internet, like, I'm always like, I cringe sometimes when I watch people, and people probably cringe at my TikToks and stuff, right? But I don't care. I always say to Chloe Brooknally, if you're not okay with me being on TikTok, let me know. Because I couldn't, I love the fact I've got like 21,000 followers or whatever, right? But they're my people.
Aye.
They're my,
See, I don't
they're my
ever
world.
do any TikToks with Kai. You'd
Yeah.
probably think I have one child
Well,
because
I'm the same with Brooke.
Kai doesn't want to be
Yeah.
on it, and you need to respect
You need to
that.
respect it. Yeah, I'm the same
and
with
I
Brooke.
think again, it all comes back to what their wishes are,
Yeah.
and they're the people at heart. Obviously, whether you're one person's posting and one person's not. But could you?
How much would you get judged for that?
Oh,
Because
exactly.
I always used to notice when I was like, and I was very self-conscious of this because Maverick's my middle child, so I was always like, but you're not a middle child, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting that. You're like a wonderful child, you are. And I used to see people in the thing, like when there was famous people posting, where's this child? How are you not posting this child? And I'm like, because that child's like my middle child. She doesn't
Aye.
want to be posted. She doesn't like it. We actually done a thing the other day with a sunbed cream, and she wore it and you should have seen the colour of her, and I was like, oh my God, can I do it? Because I was doing promotional videos. I was like, can I use you for that? And she's like, nope.
Aye, no,
And I
and
was
you
like,
need
right,
to
okay.
respect that.
Yeah,
Like that's
right,
it.
okay, that's fine.
Kai's got he's got TikTok and stuff, but he's not got any posts. Like he'll
Aye.
sit and he'll scroll or whatever.
And good for him not feeling the pressure he has to.
Not exactly.
You know what
yeah, I was going to
Whereas
say that they feel comfortable
Yeah.
to be like, no, I don't
Kai's
want
like,
to
I
do
don't
that.
want to be on it. Like he's not following the crowd. Like, you know, that way I'm like, and I like it. It's quite refreshing.
Yeah.
But could you imagine that obviously try to kind of pull it back into like the co-parenting, like one person no respecting the children's boundaries? How do you
Yeah.
navigate that?
So that must be a hard one where, say for instance, just let's use Kai, right, because we're talking about Kai. Kai goes to you one weekend and goes to Paul the next weekend, and Paul's got Kai all over the internet, and you know as Kai's mum that he doesn't
He's
like
so
that.
uncomfortable with
How
it.
would you, how would you honestly address that? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you speak to this person and say, going to put your feelings aside for me, like put them aside and concentrate on him?
I think it would be necessarily, obviously, it's harder when your child's a wee bit younger, but Kai's
Yeah.
nearly 15. I think you would have to speak to them and say, did you want to do that?
Yeah.
And if they didn't, then you would have to be like, look, what's going on?
Aye.
But it's like, I think that's why it's important to have boundaries
It
from the
is.
get-go,
It
you know,
is.
because you're protecting your peace
Yeah.
when you are
Yeah.
setting boundaries.
I always said to Chris, like, I always remember I had Chloe and Brooke, right, and then I had fell pregnant with Ali, and Chris was just like, it was pure default, right, it was on the coil and stuff, and Chris was just like, oh God, Chloe and Brooke were like 7 and 8 or whatever, and he's like, oh, they're a big age gap and whatever, and I was like, to Chris, this was meant to be, like, it's totally fine if you don't feel like that, because I will do it on my own. Like, I was like, I respect your wishes if you don't want to be another parent. I was like, obviously I knew that he wouldn't
You
come
wouldn't
around
do
and go,
that, aye.
but he could have.
Aye. Well,
That could have
that's it.
broke us, and I know it's a decision for us both to make, so we kind of sat down and spoke about whatever, and obviously we had Ali, and I swear to God, now I go like that to him all the time. Remember you were like,
Maybe.
Did you want you?
I remember I said that to Ali all the time. I'm like, you know, obviously after the argument and all that with Ali, like, you know what I'm going to say. Obviously he wasn't speaking to her for a week and all that, remember, and they fell out and stuff, and so we went, me and Chris went in Las Vegas, so she put a post on about him.
Did she?
Yeah, when I kick the ball, I look. When I kick a goal, go to score, I look over at my dad. Big lovely post about her dad.
And you're like, I'm the one that's
Actually,
it all
no,
the
I
time.
didn't even. I know I didn't even. Hello, like I didn't even miss it when I was speaking to you. He's like,
How common is that though, where like mums do all the dating to the graft, and then dad bounces in as
Yep.
fun parent once every
Yep.
2 weeks, and he's
But
the
I
hero
think
of the
that's
kids.
where we go back to the whole dads get over celebrated
Oh, they do.
for
They
doing
do.
the bare
They
bloody
do.
minimum.
Do you know
I hate when they say babysitting. Oh, he's not babysitting.
I
Those are
was
his
about
kids.
that. I was like, I can't stand that saying. But
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I've never had that.
I think I would slap Paul if he said that.
I don't really
I'm no
leave the
babysitting.
house, to be fair. I don't think Chris really needs to, like, Chloe and Brooke would watch Ali more than what obviously Chris would. He would sleep on the couch probably, forget to go Ali. But Ali would watch him. But they're obviously older now, so it's easier. Like, if me and Chris had to co-parent now, it would be a lot easier because obviously we did say that the other day because I was at the Weans football and me and one of the other mums were just talking about, like, know that NAs have to co-parent, but I was just telling her that we were obviously doing this episode and stuff, and she was like, are we? And she's like, who would you live with? And the wee was laughing and stuff, and then I'm like, to Brooke, as I said, Brooke's just like, honestly, she's just chilled, right? And she's sitting on the chair, because obviously I'm that mum, I've got the football chairs and all that, right? So she's sitting on the football chairs and she's like, dunno. And I'm like, I know, but if you had to pick, I'm not picking.
Aye.
Right, okay.
Aye.
Okay, Brooke,
It's
thanks
dead
for the
hard.
combo.
Like, how do you have that conversation with your
Yeah.
kids as well? Like, who you know,
I
when
know.
you're going through like courts and all that, and then the courts are like they're old enough to decide.
It's
How
so
could you do that to your child?
But have you
I
heard that where they take like the kids up to the court and basically the judge is
Oh,
like, you
no,
need to
do
pick.
they?
Imagine
Aye.
putting that on a
Oh,
child.
that's
Aye,
horrible.
yeah,
And
that's
they've got
what I
to
mean.
sit there and they've got to pick between mum. I just feel so sorry
How
for
could you
kids.
do that with your child rather than trying to sort that out? And I know that a lot of people do go through that because you can't come to an agreement.
I know.
You can't co-parent.
Do you know what I need to say? Like, I think us women, honestly, majority of us women do try our hardest. We
Yeah.
genuinely do. And I just hope, like, even like with this, it's probably majority of women that's listening, right? But if one man's listening and going, God, I do stuff like that, just change it before it's too late, because
Your kids are going to resent you.
they're
like, more
going
than
to
anything.
actually get older. They're going to have unhealthy relationships, potentially with their own kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's quite a sad thing that we've got a responsibility to make sure that we can guide our kids to have good, healthy relationships going forward. It's a massive responsibility. So, aye, if you can take anything from it, it was just remember that's your wee person. Aye.
It is. It's pure hard.
Do something
like,
that does my nutting, right? That I need to say to the dads, see if they've split up and they're staying at dad's house and they've got dancing, they don't have their dancing stuff.
Aye.
aye, nothing's organised.
Where's your ballet tights? I was staying with dad, and I'm like, and
Aye, does dad not have? Like, and it comes down to, like, you know, the co-parenting being 50-50, but then is the mum sorting all the stuff for the,
sure.
you know,
they are.
Yeah,
and then the
100%.
dad's just handing it back. Do you know, is that really 50-50? Do you know?
No.
Or have you heard about dads like buying jackets and then when they're dropping them off at mum's,
Taking the
they're
jacket
like, take
back.
the jacket off and that stays at
That's
mum's.
wild.
I
That
just
is
find
wild to me. That is just. I don't know.
It's dead hard when you're not going through it.
I know.
Like,
As
you've
I'm
not
saying, it's
been
probably a lot easier for us to sit and say. And even like when I was like away for Chris or whatever, it was a breeze. Do you know what I mean? It was, as I said, he was, even to this day, Chris goes like that to me. You do what you need to do, and if I need to step in, then I'll step in or whatever. We'll always support each other. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Don't get me wrong. We do niggle now and then because of Chloe. Because as I said, Chloe likes to obviously go driving about or whatever. Chris wants Chloe in the house. Like,
Aye.
he's like, you staying in the night? You staying? And I'm like, let her live.
Aye,
Do you know what I
give her a
mean?
wee
Let
bit
her
of
live.
freedom.
Like, we were driving about the town with obviously our music
Moan the
pumping
Birds.
and all that, Moan the Birds and that. Like, we were literally like everywhere. Do you know what I mean? When we were younger, like, just let her live. She's no good at. I mean, she went to a caravan a couple of weeks ago as well. Do you know what I mean? And she was at the caravan for the weekend and stuff. And he's like, "Is she driving down there?"
Aye.
And I'm like, "Yeah, she's driving."
It comes
down
back
there."
to like the
It's
stricter parent.
yeah,
And how do you navigate that when you're only together? Because you're obviously working well together now.
yeah,
But if you're not together, but dad's not letting me do this. And then we were saying on the way in here,
yeah.
when they get to a certain age, it's like, but I don't want to go to my dad's. I want to, you know,
I know.
how
I've got
do
my own
you,
home comforts.
how do you let them decide and then message them and go, she's no want to come tonight? Like,
And then
you
it
know,
falls back on you because it looks as if you're being that better parent where you're like, so
She's
how
not
do
want
you
to go.
do you force the kid to
to
go?
go.
Do you know what I mean? But if they're old enough to make that decision, then it should be, and take me out of the equation. You can speak to the kid
You better phone your dad
directly.
and talk to him.
Aye. I don't know if you're the same. I'll be like the bad cop, right? And then see if Chris comes in and be the bad cop. I'm like that to him. You took that too far there. Like,
I love it when Paul
don't
sticks up
shout
for
at
me.
my kids.
I love it. I love it. I genuinely love it when Paul sticks up for me. I'm like, oh, you're hot.
Aye.
I'm like, shout at them again. And when he's like, don't talk to your mum like that. I'm like, On
talk to me
yourself.
like that again so he can get involved.
Because it's very rarely happens.
No,
Do you know that? Like,
it's
he will just let me go on with it and I'm on like, fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
So he's just like, oh, fuck. Here's
And what I feel is if, like,
he's like, stop
I'm
talking to your mates
not.
like that. And I'm like, your mum like that. And I'm like, come here, you.
Right, have another. Let's have another. The biggest thing for me is how soon do you introduce somebody else to your kids?
I think you need to. We've obviously got that message. So I'll read it out after this chat, but because it kind of ties in well. But I think you need to, like you said, the world's a dark place. You need to know who you're bringing into your family. We don't know. See this, everything that's on the news, and all these people. It's like everything's so sketchy.
Yep.
I would like to think of touch wood if me and Paul ever split up. I wouldn't want anybody else. Like,
My
I'm
mum
done.
done
I think a lot of women think that way. Things happen unexpectedly, right enough. But
my dad passed away 20 years ago. My mum's never had another partner. Never, and she wasn't with him for like 10 years or something before he passed.
I think I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm quite good on my own.
And I can tell you
Women
now.
are like that, but men will be on
On the
Tinder that
rebound.
week.
Aye, they're on
and
the
have a new
rebound.
girlfriend moved in.
I can tell you right now, and when I did fall out with Chris, nobody was in my, like, there was nobody meeting my kids, like.
You're not interested in that?
No, they're my babies, I want them to feel safe. And see, right now, my kids are at an age where if me and both Chris split up and went with other people, they wouldn't accept it.
Aye.
They wouldn't.
No.
Do you know what I mean? They genuinely wouldn't. So Coinbrook can now go and get their own place. So they would probably do that more than have to. And that's sad. Do you know what I mean? Because, but I just think we've got a responsibility as mum and dad. And I honestly think it's more scarier for a mum to bring a man in. And I know that sounds terrible.
When you've got daughters and stuff.
Yeah, it's such a scary, scary subject. And we've got a responsibility to make sure that this parent, and I don't think you fully know someone.
Imagine just like being in the club like that, if you get a PVG.
Aye.
If you get a PVG.
You should disclosure. You should always do a disclosure. But what was that thing called now? Is it Claire's Law?
Claire's Law.
Claire's Law. There's a thing called Claire's Law now, isn't there?
Yeah.
I definitely think
And
that's...
you can look up like basically, or if you've got reason. I think there's like ways you can't just phone them and be I need to get
That's
a
what
tell
the
us
bar
what-
is for dating now. You've got to search their criminal record.
Yeah.
Find out if they've got...
Do you know what?
Have you got an enhanced PVG?
See, when you've got kids, it's not a bad thing. It's
No,
not a bad
it's
thing.
not. It's really not. And I
It's not a
think
bad
obviously coming back to a lot of things happen unexpectedly. You meet people unexpectedly, and sometimes that's when the most magical things happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you need to
Take your
be
time with
careful. Aye, take your time. There's absolutely
Yeah,
no rush.
no
If this
rush.
person's willing to stick around for a long time, take that.
Because the love bombing is somebody would want to move in with you that week.
Oh.
I love you, that I've never felt like this before.
When
I want to meet you.
they've got absolutely nothing left,
Yeah.
and you've got a house, a full family,
Yeah.
you know, a move in, you know, ready made.
I hate
would
when I
get
see
right into that.
I hate when I see a woman do that. She moves someone and the kids are uncomfortable and I just honestly it makes me feel horrendous for the
I feel
kids.
like it's you know, I've got such a great relationship with Paul's mum and stuff like that, and I think me, you know, just speaking hypothetically here, but you know, having a new partner, meeting them, you know, getting the kids and all that, I feel as if it almost disrespects that whole bound, you know, that whole relationship and that with everybody.
It does. It does.
But I think guys are quicker to do it than women, aren't they?
Oh, definitely.
They are. They don't think. They think with their dick.
So how soon do you think? How soon do you actually think then you should? For me, I think you don't technically. I always say to like my friends and stuff, have you seen him drunk? Have you seen him hungover? Have you seen him sick? Have you seen? It probably takes a full year.
Something until you move in with them.
Yeah, but it probably takes a full year of actually getting.
I was feeling like minimum a year.
Yeah, I
from
think
when you
minimum
break.
a
It'd
year.
be good to have like listeners actually say what they
Yeah,
think.
I want people to come and actually listen.
Aye.
There'll be people going, "Fuck's sake, Shan, a year." Do you know what I mean?
year.
But like, I get that
We're not
because
going through it.
there's people that have not got babysitters either that are probably
Aye.
sitting thinking, "Well, what do you mean? I don't have anybody." So what
Or
am I
go out
supposed
and
to do?
date,
Just
but
say-
maybe don't
Yeah.
introduce your
Your
kids.
kids.
to
Aye,
them
that's it. Take
within
your
a
time
year.
with
The
that. I think
kids.
there's
I just sometimes I watch women
It's a
just
marathon,
feel
not
as
a
if
sprint.
the man always comes first, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, because we're so let down by men half the time. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
Like your kids will never. They'll just watch you be this. I want the kids to turn around and look and go. Like when I wasn't with Chris, I went and worked full time and all that, and I was working full time. I was still showing up to their dancing comps. I was shattered half the time, but I just wanted them to look at me and go, "Mum can do it all," because I've got 3 girls in the house, so I want my 3 girls to go, "Oh no, I can do that."
Yep.
You're
There's
strong.
not a no, I can't do that. There's a no, I can do it. And I think when you're raising either a boy, you've got a responsibility to make sure that he doesn't show up and act the way his father did. If you're obviously got that relationship with the father, which is, by the way, the hardest thing in the world when a father's teaching his son to be mean to the mum.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So how do you bring up a good child when you have that parent that's not a good role model?
Aye, it's hard, and I think with Kai, like, he is a good, good wee child anyway. You know, I'm quite lucky, but it's good to see a good relationship for him. You know,
strong,
God,
healthy.
there'll be times Paul and I will fight like fuck, but you know, it's good for him to be.
It's
like,
how you resolve it, though.
Aye, it's
you can have a healthy argument.
Aye, and it's only natural. Do you know what I mean? Everybody argues.
They do.
Half the time you're like, I'll kill you, but
aye. It's how you resolve
navigate it.
As I said, Chris is a very, I'll not talk to you for a week or whatever, and I hate that about him because I'm like, that's my biggest
Stubborn.
thing. I hate, because life's short. You need to be able to go,
you don't know what's going to happen.
Do you know what I mean? God, like, if somebody comes in, even like me, if I'm very easy to turn around and go, listen, I was in the wrong there, I was a bitch there, like, let's just go over it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've had the argument, we've both said stupid stuff, like, let's just go over it and move on from it. I think for me, though, I've got I couldn't care less what anybody else out with my household and my mum think, like, I couldn't care less.
Same.
Because I'm in my household, I'm in my bubble, I'm raising kids, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm in my safe space.
Aye, like, that's it. Anybody else out with my household's a bonus.
And I think when it comes to like new partners and stuff, you're bringing somebody else in, although you're not in a complete bubble, but you're still bringing somebody else into that environment and that safe space, and it no longer becomes safe.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're on edge of that safe space. You're like unknown territory, and I think that's where the resentment builds up, especially if you're hurting. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If it's
don't get me wrong, some stepdads have got better intentions for their stepkids than.
Oh my God, you know what's that saying? It takes something to be a father. Oh, God knows.
Is it, I'm the dad that stepped up or something? Is that the one?
It's something like it takes, like, you know, a man to be a father or something to be a step. Fuck knows.
It's true.
I know what you mean.
I mean, see, for me, like, I just think, like, if you're having kids, then that should be your priority. Do you know what I mean? But it's half the time.
How hard is it though if you're obviously meeting your kids are being introduced to this new person, but it turns out that they've actually been with them behind your back, and you know that they've been together, but your kids have already met them. Yeah, it's hard. Do you know that? Like, I honestly don't know how you put that emotion aside, because I genuinely think I'd go apeshit. You know, that'd be out of heart. And although you're like, oh, keep that child, you know, keep your child in the middle, you know. But if you're hurting so bad,
I would really struggle not to call him out on his name and her, you know. Like, I would go crazy.
And how do you not bash them in front of them? Because I think you can probably do it unconsciously, like just when you're on the phone, or you know, you're hurting so bad that they've already met this new person they were with them. Yeah,
it's a hard topic. It's a really hard, and again, it's just that there's no right or wrong answer, as long as you are doing what you should be doing and try and take your emotions away from that other person.
You've almost got to be like triple the saint. You've got to be the person that get cheated on. Then you have to be the bigger person for the kids. And then you need to not trash talk them in front of your 100%. Children. And it's like, so I've got to do all that and I'm innocent. And it's like, it's so unfair. But
and there's some fabulous dads out there as well that just aren't getting... Like, because some women are so hurt that they're not looking at their child and going, do you know what? Because see, for me, I used to always think to myself, I'm working so much to make sure that you can get everything you need. So why would I not want the break? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, you need it.
But I knew there wasn't another woman there.
Aye.
So my kids weren't meeting another woman. So that must be hard. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want you to have a great relationship with your dad, but I'm sending you there knowing that your dad's not really spending much time with you because he's actually sitting
with his girlfriend.
So that's hard, isn't it?
Aye, I've got this question from someone who sent in, and it's quite a tough one to answer, I think, so it'd be good to hear your input.
Just bearing in mind, guys, that we're only putting our opinions in as well. We're not obviously like, this is a must. Equipped. Aye, this is a must. Because it's not, at the end of the day, they're your babies. You need to do what's basically right for you and your baby. As long as you've got good intentions and you just don't let your emotions take over, if you like.
So, Obviously, it's anonymous.
Yep.
So my co-parent journey has always been tricky. I've been doing it for 7 years now. When my oldest son was nearly 2, I met my fiancé in just a short few weeks. They both met as I had a feeling my fiancé was the right person for me. They have since then got along. They are super close. The issue is I have my son's dad and he has been seeing a girl for a while, and not shortly after dating, he introduced my son to her. I was annoyed now as my son is autistic and is still adjusting to having a dad and a stepdad. He can get confused easily. Should his dad have waited? Am I wrong to feel the way I feel?
I don't think you're wrong to feel that way, especially with the wee and being autistic. From my point of view, the dad's got a great argument of it worked out for you.
Yeah.
And it did work out with the sounds of things. You've got a great man now. So it's kind of a bit of what's good for you is good for me. And if the shoe was on the other foot and you hadn't met your fiancé first, then would you be okay with
waiting?
How quick that your fiancé, obviously she doesn't really see the timeline there, but would you be okay with how quick like you had met your fiancé if that was him with his partner first of all? That's a very hard one, because obviously with the me and being artistic as well,
You've got different outlooks with autistic children.
And is she going to be able to know how to kind of deal with like him on a day-to-day basis? Is the dad a good dad? That's firstly what you kind of need to know as well.
Have they got a relationship, good relationship?
Is he got the best intentions for his boy at this age? Will their relationship change? That's maybe what she's fearful of as well, because if he is a good dad and now there's another woman there, is this other woman going to affect, obviously, their relationship as father and son? Obviously, it sounds as if it is a lot with having 2 dads.
It's a big change for an autistic child, it really is.
But do you know what? It's great for her to have a fiancé there that's very supportive with the sounds of things and actually help.
Because I think as well with autism, you could then introduce somebody to a child who's autistic. You've got different levels of autism and different severities of it. But if you've got someone who can't handle that, like a new partner, and then they split up because they can't cope with that.
It's a lot on the child.
Then that's a change. So you need to have
that goes for both of them.
Oh, 100%.
And see, let's face it, right? You could have somebody that's dead supportive the now and see in a year's time. You could an absolute see you next Tuesday. So it's a risk, and that is a big risk, because obviously that is something we would never know. Do you know what I mean? So she's having to really think about that one. But on both sides, you just need to think you've now got that wee partner, right, who you introduced after so much time. Would you have been comfortable if it was the other way about, him doing it first? And also your partner's a great support, so maybe he just needs that wee bit of support.
Needs somebody. I was going to say that. I think with autism and that, you need a team, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people probably do it on their own as well, but it's something that you need support with.
It's good to have more support, and she could be a great coping mechanism for her as well, because then she could be able to message and go,
am I right? Am I wrong?
Am I right? Like the two.
It sounds like the respect thing was lacking, like you were saying. Like it doesn't sound like he's came here and been like, look, I've met this person, I know it's going to be quick,
you should have cleared that
but
first.
It feels really right, and I want to go for this. Can we work
but then
together?
Did she do that as well? Like, because we don't know.
It's hard when you don't know the full circumstances. It's one of those ones where, like you said, how would you feel if he done it first? He's introduced first, but then asked you to wait.
Yeah,
and it's almost like, well, no,
exactly.
Because and it, like autistic children, it's so complex.
It is.
It's
hard. It's a very hard one.
You're dealing. The children's dealing with the breakup. They're then dealing, maybe not the routine's all up in arms. You then get new people coming in the equation on both ends.
Yeah,
that's challenging.
And
enough.
behaviours go through the roof then.
Yeah, that's it. And then you need to make sure that you've got both of you have got the right people that are going to, be that support mechanism.
Yeah, you need to be able to do that. And he might just be feeling like, he might be feeling the same way she did when she met her fiancé. Oh my God, this person's amazing. Yeah, and again, you don't know if they two talk on a daily, like if they two are actually good at co-parenting each other.
How is it situation now?
Yeah, so she might just be a wee bit fearful of, as I said, this lady's going to come in and maybe it wouldn't be as good a co-parenting situation now, because she could be taking up more than his time.
100%.
It's just things like that I think you technically need to obviously try and think of, but I mean, I said to you, I wouldn't like another woman being about my kids, and like my kids are old and whatever else now. So I totally get it from her point of view, and I think it's a great, healthy question to ask. And I hope the internet come in, it maybe been the same situation and give her a better answer. Because for me, I genuinely just think it's quite a hard one. You just need to basically take your emotions out and go, right, how soon did I introduce my fiance to Ian?
It's hard when you've got one doing it and then you're feeling a certain way about the other one, and not to say it's like a kind of bitter feeling. It's most probably about the son being autistic and a change.
Yeah, she's probably fear.
And
her
how
baby.
That's going to affect.
It's her baby. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I totally get
what
that.
do you think, guys? Do you think that it's...
Yeah, let us know. Even write it. If you don't want to write it, then write it to us, and then we can come. And by the way, I actually let Michelle read the messages this week, and I didn't read them because I wanted to make sure that I gave a raw kind of response to it. But I don't. Obviously, I can see, but I didn't look and see who that lady was or whatever. But I hope that's gave you some kind of clarification on what we kind of think. There is no right or wrong answer. God, you've now met somebody that's turned out to be amazing. Not to say that your ex is now with somebody and she could be the exact same. And she could end up a great support for her as well. The two of them could bounce off each other. So let's hope that does go down that road. It doesn't always happen like that. But yeah, you need to take these chances in life. And unfortunately, when you are co-parenting, you need to take chances that involve the child, which can be scary. It can be really scary. But we did have loads of people coming in and writing different stuff.
We've got a lot of co-parenting stories.
Yeah, we get loads.
And there are a couple of experiences and how a lot. One of the main ones was a kind of theme I was getting from all the kind of messages was it's hard to sit and watch. It's hard to give your child away when you're hurting.
Yeah.
Like, when the room's empty, you've been through a breakup and there's silence and your child's away with their dad, and, you can just imagine you're sitting there by yourself, your kids are away.
Aye.
Like, how heartbreaking is that?
That's heartbreaking. And that's where you probably find that people either turn to stuff they shouldn't, or they make it kind of a good positive thing. Like they'll use their spare time as something more positive. And it's hard. You need to be a strong person to turn around and turn it into a positive.
Yeah.
When it's been such a negative experience in your life. Like I watch girls on TikTok and they just come on and tell their full story with stuff like this. And I love when they've spent it and they're like, now, this was meant to happen. It doesn't feel like it at the time, but you're going where you're supposed to go. Do you know what I mean? That's not your person. And I always say that when we split up, because I was like, we were two different, totally different people. And then we come back together, we're so much more mature, we were so much more like, we're better as a team.
That's such a positive way to think about it.
It is, like, you grow, and a lot of people do that, split up and come back together.
I didn't realise how common it was, because obviously we've done it now. And Chris is such a private person, so we would go to we would still do weddings and everything from each other, right? Like, even though we were totally apart, we would still do things like that, show up for each other and things like that. And we would go and people sitting around our table were like, what do you mean yous are separated? There was no, I'm now single. There was no, like, do you know what I mean?
Big announcement,
big thing on Facebook. There was no slating them when we could have slated each other probably with certain decisions we made. Do you know what I mean? So we just
it's really rare to get that off the mark.
And listen, I don't know if I don't know why, but my wee people were just my wee people. And I did hate him. Like, I used to tell him on the phone, I used to call him for everything, or the twos used to argue constantly, like, but I used to step out the house, go in the car and give him it. Like,
yeah. You wouldn't do it in front of the kids.
Yeah, but I think it took me a long time to get to that. We are so disconnected right now. Your opinion, like, we are
communication is key when it comes to stuff, and when that communication is broke, you're completely lost in a zone.
It actually makes me feel quite sad to think that there's actually, and I'm going to just say women, right? Because obviously, as I said, I'm all for the girls. But listen, there is guys out there that are trying their absolute damnedest. And,
there is 100%.
There's been girls out there that are just not doing the right decisions for their kids. But there's actually people sitting heartbroken in the house, just trying their damnedest for these kids. And it's even harder, by the way, massive subject, when you have got this wee person, this partner has left, and they're with someone with kids, and they're a better dad to their kids.
Oh, could you imagine?
That's hard.
I think I would. I don't even know how I would navigate that.
I think eventually the truth comes out though. I think they can only fake it for so long and then they start fucking it up with a new family.
That one's so hard on the kids that, you know, the kids can watch your mum and dad's, you know, and then they grow up and they're
Not
like,
even his kids.
my dad wasn't there for me, but they were there for some other people's, and you see that quite often actually.
You do. I was one of the girls had messaged me and said that, like, that's so hard. Like, she's one of the girls that had messaged me has got a girl, and he's went with someone else who's got boys, and he takes them to the football practice and all that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I think that's because, you know, kids can see mum and dad split up and go through the motions of that, but then when they see dad or mum playing mum and dad to someone else and leaving them, that's really affecting them more than probably just a general split.
100%.
That's like, why am I not good enough stuff? Like, you know, that's embedding in them.
That's sad. And then there's kids going to school and like there's dads that are showing up for them at school and whatever, and these wee kids are sitting
sports days and all that, you know, like the dad race and stuff, you know, like that. It's just so, oh my God.
That actually makes you feel so sad. So do you know what? If you are sitting at home and you're going through that, let us know. Hopefully we can chat to you about it. Don't sit on your Todd thinking about all this stuff. Like,
and there's going to be loads of mums going through that.
100%.
It's not
alone.
You know, people like keeping it in themselves, like you said, kind of sitting probably in tears at night, trying their best. You know, already feel, because a lot of people when they split with their partners, they feel like a failure. You know, they feel as if it's something really. You know, they wanted to give their kids everything, and it's failed, and you feel, you know, that mum guilt. You know,
sometimes
that we spoke about.
What the movies foresee as a happy ending isn't what your happy ending is in real life.
And what's meant for you is you know.
I watch some women like go to work 2-3 jobs or whatever else, and their happy endings in their kids. A man does not define like
a happy
your child. 100%. Do you know what I mean?
But a dad
having that dad figure is obviously like massive. But do you know what? I don't know, right?
I think you're your own happy ending.
I think when you find that inner happiness,
Yep.
you know, that's huge, you know, and it is hard to get to that point sometimes when you're so lonely or heartbroken to find who you are.
I always say that I grew up, me and one of my friends grew up the same kind of way. So obviously like drink involved, mum and dad kind of like partied and whatever else. And I always think you can choose to be the same or you can choose to be different, and we both chose different paths. And I feel so sad for her now because she doesn't have like a relationship with kids and all that. Like, do you know what I mean? And I obviously chose that other healthier option where, by the way, I think it takes a lot to go down this way. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying it's an easy road, because I think you just genuinely need to have, I don't know,
a bit of fight.
You need to have hard. Something like, I always knew I wanted to be a mum. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I want to be a mum. And when I had Chloe, like, oh, my heart just melted. Like, honestly, like, that was just my goal in life, to be that mum. My goal in life to continue is for my kids to show up with their kids on a Sunday. Yeah. Because I want to have that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's going to...
Yeah, I was the most unmaternal person ever. See, when I told my mum I was pregnant, she was like... But I was young. Like, I was, I think I was 20 when I fell pregnant. And I was still enjoying going out with my friends and all that kind of stuff. And
I was 20 as well.
And my mum was like... And then she went, I'm not laughing, like, oh my God, give me a hug. Like, and I was like, oh, you know, but as soon as, I mean, I had postnatal...
You're not glad now though?
Oh, 100%, like, you know, as soon as I had Kai, you know, I went through the motions of postnatal depression, which I think would maybe be a good topic, kind of talk on at some point, but, and I think it was just immaturity. Yeah. But see, Kai grew with me, like, do you know, he grew up with me, like, we grew up together, do you know, that way, and he's watched me change, and I wouldn't change it. I would not change it. And now I'm getting my life back, and you know, that way I'm finding that inner happiness, you know, like 100%. Oh, this is what I was supposed to do. Do you know, that kind of sense? And I think when you get that as a mum,
I think you know yourself, like when you go through certain stages of parenthood, whether you're doing it on your own or you are doing it with someone or you're co-parenting, or you just get that sense of, I'm doing a great job here. Do you know what I mean? Like,
even though you doubt yourself so much, but there is wee moments. I mean, I do it all the time when I'm like, oh, could have been better the day, you know, or I've shouted so much. But then you get wee moments where you feel that you've got your shit together, and you're like, fucking bossing this. I'm fucking great.
I'm fucking winning here.
Fucking top mom.
So that was quite obviously good to kind of just touch upon that for the first kind of session, but we will carry it through because I just think it's such a good, healthy healthy topic to talk about. And having good relationship with your kids should always be top of the list. And sometimes that's hard to have that relationship that's so good when you've got such a negative person in your life. But just remember, keep going, you're doing what you're doing, and to be continued.
Yeah, definitely. We've got some messages and things like that for some co-parenting stories in the next episode. And obviously, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us, subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Word of mouth as well,
share.
because that helps, tell people about us, because we're enjoying doing it. And
if you can get us on in the car, a lot of people have been tagging the pages, so get us on in the car, even tag us, we can reshare it, and hopefully
the episodes come on Sunday nights as well, so when you're getting your kids' stuff ready for school and stick us on.
Who does the iron on?
Oh, fucking no me. Let's date me.
I don't iron.
I don't iron either.
I seen a TikTok and it was like, I knew this generation didn't give a fuck when we all stopped ironing.
Mine goes in the tumble
100%.
dryer and I hope for the best when I pull it out.
100%. I'm the exact
It'll
same.
straighten out throughout the day.
Iron alley stuff, but I think that's about it. Like, I hear the iron going on now and again, so somebody else in the house must
Half the time I go like this, Paul going to come in and sort that.
Chris loves ironing. He
Can't
does
do
ironing
it.
in the body.
I get pure angry sometimes. I'm like, this is
I
not.
know.
But
yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, and please hit that subscribe button.
Yep, give us a wee follow. Thank you.